Hi friends, welcome back to Sheena's Homestead. Today I'm gonna head outside, but before I do, I wanted to talk to you about pruning your fruit trees. This is a very easy process and I'm gonna tell you how to do it in a couple easy steps. As you can see, it is winter outside right now and this is the time to prune your fruit trees. You don't want to prune them in the spring or the summertime because at that point in time, they're still growing and their hormones are producing and you're going to mess up their growth hormone if you do that. You want to do it when everything is slow and very quiet in the winter. So pick a warmer day than I'm picking. Today is a high of 23 degrees, but it is relatively warm in comparison to what we've been dealing with. Yesterday was -5. So today feels like a heat wave here in the Midwest. So I'm gonna head out to do this today. But the first step that we wanna do when we get out there is we wanna assess the tree. So stand back a little bit and look over your tree. Try to take note of which way it is growing and identify the main leader branch growing in your tree, which is the one that grows the tallest and the highest straight through the middle. So the next step that we are going to look at after we assess our tree is we want to find dead, damaged, and diseased branches. So anything that starts with one of those 3 Ds, we are going to get rid of it right away. And that is going to make a huge difference for our tree in the spring. The next thing that we are going to look for is anything that is rubbing together, because wherever we have branches that touch and the wind moves, it will rub. And any openings in our tree, any kinds of cuts or anything like that, will end up allowing disease to enter the tree. So we want to look for branches that are rubbing and anything that would be rubbing in the future. So if you've got 2 branches that are growing towards each other, you might want to eliminate one of them. And the last thing that we're going to be looking for are suckers or anything that is competing with our tree. So I will show you when we get out there exactly what I mean by that. But these are the steps that we're going to look for when we go out there to prune our first apple tree. I also want to show you, these are my pruning shears, and we are going to be using alcohol to clean them off. You want to make sure that you do this in between every tree. Let's go. So back in 2021, we planted an orchard. We have apple trees, pear, peach, and cherry. So this method applies to many different fruit trees, but today I am going to be pruning an apple tree. So this is a tree that I am going to prune, and you can see that it has quite a few wild branches. And while I don't see anything that's damaged at this moment, I do see a lot of you know what I do? This branch right here is going to go because there is some damage on the outside of it. So that will be the first thing that I decide to take off. And then from there, we are just going to get rid of a lot of these suckers. You can see there's a lot of growth going straight up. We don't want that. We don't want angles in our tree that have like that sharp, straight up degree, because we won't get a lot of fruit from there. So I'm gonna pluck away at this tree and show you exactly what I'm doing. All right, so this branch right here is gonna be the first to go, and I am going to cut it on an angle just like this. And that is going to allow the water to drip down and not settle on the top of this branch, just like this one before it. Because any water settling on that branch right there can cause rot, and that's not something that we want. We don't want disease or rot or anything like that. So make sure you cut on an angle and make it a nice sharp cut. This one right here is the next to go because you can see it is rubbing on all of these other branches here. So I'm going to cut that one off right at the base. Take that right out. So now I'm going to clean this up and take off all of these suckers that are going straight up. You can see that eventually it's going to run into this branch, which this is a really nice branch and it has a very good angle for producing fruit. So I am going to leave this one and I'm going to cut these off. I'm also going to take this one off as well because it's growing at an angle that is into the rest of the tree and we don't need that. So here is another instance where the branches are growing together, and as it gets bigger you can see that this is going to be rubbing against each other. If you come in right here, and that is something we don't want. So I'm going to take this one right here and give it a little snip, and now we have cleared that away, and these are going to grow separate from each other, and that's what we want. All right, friends, well, I think that I'm pretty happy with the way that this turned out. We took off all of the dead, damaged, and diseased branches to begin with, and then we looked through it to find anything that was competing. So we took off all the branches that were rubbing or that are going to grow to rub against each other. And then we looked for suckers. I will probably still take off a couple more of the suckers as time goes on, but you just want to make sure that you never take off more than 1/3 of the tree's branches at one time, because that is very hard for the tree to recover from. So I will probably come back out in a second swoop before spring and just make sure that everything looks all nice, neat, and tidy. But this is a good start for us. I hope that this helped you. If you have fruit trees and you have questions, leave them down below. There is no question that I leave unanswered. So if you leave me a question, I will make sure to find the answer for you. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you again next time on Sheena's Homestead. Goodbye, friends.